Hello and welcome to Standard Sports Ashes coverage. We're here to review day two of the second test. I'm joined by Will McPherson, who is somewhere in the depths of the Adelaide Oval after another chastening day for England, really, one in which leaves you feeling kind of pretty desolate about their chances in the series. Will, what did you make of it?
Yep, you're exactly right there, Malik. England are a fair way off getting anything out of this game after 2 days. This was the sixth day of the series. It should have been the seventh, but it lost quickly enough in Brisbane to ensure it was only six. But this feels like the toughest one yet for England. There was a slow burn through the first two sessions and then an explosion at the end as Australia's tail enders got tucked in before England's top order. The two openers were dismissed by the same players who were bowling. Australia were on fire. The crowd were really up and about for the first time in the game, and it leaves England in a desperate position going into the third day. We're going to need to bat brilliantly twice, I think, not just once, to get out of the game with a draw.
I think probably the most frustrating, the most disheartening thing for England fans is just the familiarity of it all. You know, it feels like we've spent the last few Winter Ashes tours watching days exactly like this one, with bowling attacks exactly like this one struggling.
Exactly. This game is sort of unerringly like the game in 2017, the first pink ball meeting between these two sides, which obviously Australia won pretty comfortably. They batted first. They racked up more than 400 over about 150 overs, just as they've done here. They then declared and got stuck into England. That time, England only lost one wicket that evening. This time it was two, both openers, both worrying dismissals in different ways. Rory Burns played at a ball he probably could have left. It was a good ball, but he probably could have left it. And Haseeb Hameed just chipped to mid-on, which is a sort of baffling dismissal, having looked really quite comfortable. It's exactly like what we've seen before. And as you referenced the bowling attack there, England left out Mark Wood for the game, who dismissed Steve Smith in Brisbane and caused a little bit of trouble for the tail. Well, in his place, they had an attack of five right-arm medium pacers, which medium fast bowlers. None of them bowled dreadfully. Chris Woakes particularly took some tap at the end. They just did not have the tools to threaten Australia today, and they're paying the price for it.
As you mentioned, two down at the close. I did message you when the declaration came and said I thought we might be four down. A bit of weather seems to have saved us there, but Rory Burns, I mean, in a team that's not having a great series, he's having a proper shocker, really. I know you don't want to read too much into that first ball, but if anything, the first test that is, but if anything set the tone for what's to follow, it was that. I mean, what do you think? He's obviously going to get one more chance to bat at least. Do you think he'll get more beyond that?
I think a lot hinges on the second innings here for him. It's very interesting that he's now standing the non-strikers. He's batting number two, not number one. He's done that throughout his career. I expected that to just be a little one-off in the second innings of Brisbane. Totally understandable there, but they've obviously decided to stick with it. Just as in Brisbane in the second innings, he got out of that first over, but didn't make too many. He's a really tough, mentally strong guy. He's in a good place. He's got his family out here. The question isn't mental; it's technical, I think. Can this sort of this technique, which is quite complicated, stand up to Australia's fast bowlers? We've seen here that while it's Mitchell Starc he's got a real problem with, I think Pat Cummins and Josh Hazlewood are out, but Michael Neser and Jai Richardson are going to be a real handful for England. It's not, I think there was a lot of optimism, me included, when those two bowlers were ruled out for very different reasons, but it's not necessarily going to be easy.
You could see what a popular figure Michael Neser was at the end there with the reception he got. I suppose that's when your luck's in, you lose your captain, a bloke comes in, gets a wicket in the first over of his first test. Everything going against England at the moment, but quite a lot of it their own fault, almost all of it, in fact. We'll be back tomorrow to review the third day's play. As you say, England are going to need a monster day with the bat. Joe Root and Dom Malan once again are going to have to put together a big partnership with England are to get anything out of this second test.